Kyoto, Japan, a city rich with history. Now let's part the curtain to a time when this history was reality. It was typical to embed puns in writing, and there were plenty. One example being the same word for iris and pattern. Women were restricted to kana while the men could use kanji. Because it was considered a more sophisticated language, the men nearly always used kanji. As a result, kanji was called men's letters while kana was called woman's hand. Most Japanese writing came from Chinese, but the Chinese did not even like prose writing. A noted figure of this time, Murasaki Shikibu, was born in Heian-kyo, now Kyoto, Japan, somewhere around 973 AD. Around 998 AD, she married Fujiwara Nobutaka of the Imperial Guard and soon had their daughter Kenji. It is recorded that she had a happy marriage, but alas, this time in her life came to an abrupt stop at the death of Nobutaka around 1000 AD. She entered court about 2 years later and died about 23 years after that. None of these dates are certain facts. Like many women of her time, her true name is not known. Shikibu comes from her father's court title, and Murasaki is the name of her book hero's favorite wife. Murasaki means violet. She was of the Fujiwara clan. Fujiwara means wisteria field. Ladies in the court of Akiko had to act and dress modestly. Murasaki Shikibu longed to live like those in the court of Princess Senshi. Murasaki Shikibu described the court as a beautiful but confining fishbowl. She longed to live buried in her thoughts like a tree stump in the ground. She believed others thought of her as a monster, while she thought of herself as kind and gentle. She took to calling herself a decrepit old fossil. Scholars who say there is likely a missing beginning to the diary believe that because Murasaki Shikibu does not mention a major flood that occurred in Japan around the time she started her diary, this indicates a lost beginning. Those who say there is no missing beginning to the diary say that what is seemingly the beginning was written so masterfully that it has to be the beginning. The Genji is to Japanese as Shakespeare is to English. Most Japanese of today have read part of the Genji. No other Japanese work is better known than the Tale of Genji. The Tale of Genji is a colossal masterpiece of over 50 chapters. Murasaki Shikibu may have started writing this tale before coming to court. In fact, her writing may have been the reason she was summoned to court. Murasaki Shikibu had two versions of Genji, one public and one private. The private version was also circulated when Michinaga took it from her room without her knowing. None of the Genji scrolls existing today are in the handwriting of Murasaki Shikibu. They are all copies. People drew illustrations to go with the monogatari. 3 chapters in the Tale of Genji seem not to be by Murasaki Shikibu. They may be by her daughter Kenshi. A title has been found with no chapter to go with it. This chapter may have been about the death of Genji. Murasaki Shikibu seemed to unknowingly model Genji after herself. Genji is very contradictory, just like his creator. It is possible that Murasaki Shikibu could describe Genji so well because he was like her. Behind her physically peaceful self, Murasaki Shikibu was constantly at war with her brush as her only weapon. She often wrote about others in her life, though rarely having anything good to say. She wrote Sei Shonagon's work as a patchwork of blunders, and Izumi Shikibu is an amusing writer of letters, but her work lacks what I would call serious poetry. Two other women of this time were known for their writings, Sei Shonagon and Izumi Shikibu. In her writings, Murasaki Shikibu shows that she has a low opinion of both, especially Sei Shonagon. These three have produced work that is a high standard for Japanese writing yet today. Murasaki Shikibu is best at expressing emotion, Sei Shonagon best at prose writing, and Izumi Shikibu best at poetry. When her father Tamatoki retired, he became a priest. Akiko always tried to be proper, yet she wanted to learn Chinese, which was forbidden to women. Sei Shonagon rarely mentioned other court ladies. She may have retired to a Buddhist convent around the age of 50, but then again, experts aren't certain if she lived to that age. Writings show there to have been a big change in her life towards the end.